David Higgins. Last time we were doing a press conference together, might have been Parker against Joshua. Oh, White, yeah, the White one as well. Been here many times. Huge fight for Joseph on Saturday night. Huge fight for you, as always. I know Mr. Chisora eventually shook your hand. He's quite hard to read, isn't he? But I promise you, he's a good guy underneath it all. But this is a massive fight for Joseph on Saturday after a very close fight last time. But this time, very different with a crowd.
Yeah.
And we expect a cracker.
Yeah, so first of all, I'd like to, we're living in a pandemic, it's a crazy world, so the fact Matchroom Boxing are still making events happen, I'm in the event business, they're in a business where they could be told tomorrow there's no crowd permitted at the arena, so it's a risky business. So, I think everyone in boxing, it's sometimes fashionable to hate successful people, but I think everyone in boxing should be grateful that Matchroom are keeping these shows going and providing these opportunities. And we're grateful, that's for sure, and grateful to Derek Chisora for always bringing a fight. And someone asked me today, he's going to come swinging, trying to take Joseph's head off. Does that worry you? I said, no, it doesn't. I'm sure we're prepared for that. But secondly, I've seen Joseph sometimes at his best in those situations. You think back to when he put Dillian White down at the end of that fight, or in Joshua when the ref pulled him off the dust-ups. And so I'm sure Joseph is going to be cool and stick to the plan, but if Derek wants to swing, I'm sure Joseph's ready for that too. So look, we're grateful to be here, and thank you again.
Obviously a huge commitment from Joseph to fly over the other side of the world. He looks in tremendous shape with Andy, now had a longer period to gel with his trainer. You know him personally as well, in a good space for this challenge.
Yeah, I think it's a zen camp. I've seen all the camps, and they've prepared extremely well and had more time together, and there's just a steady calm that they know what the job is, so we're on the home straight now. And as for the commitment, Joseph and I actually don't know when we're allowed back home to New Zealand, so yeah, definitely quite a commitment.
Well, I'm sure New Zealand will be very concerned about not having your return.
I might have to move in.
You're more than welcome.
Mow your lawn.
More than welcome. More than welcome. We've got a few moments for you. The training teams, two tremendous trainers. I think one of the dynamics of this fight, which is so intriguing, is the two quality trainers that stand in hand of these two men, Dave Coldwell and Andy Lee. Dave, firstly for you, Derek seems to be more committed the longer his career goes on. Is that something you've seen in this camp? Tony Bellew always talks about staying up in Rotherham and how difficult that can be, but Derek's done it, looks in tremendous shape and ready to go on Saturday night.
I think as a fighter gets more experience under the belt, they get wiser, don't they? And they realise that certain mistakes that might have made earlier on in their career, they can't afford to make as they go on. They just learn, they just get smarter. And I think Derek, when he linked up with David and the Haymaker setup, changed his way he lived, nutrition-wise, looking after his body, not abusing his body, and just keeping it, even in between fights, keeping it in maintenance and keeping it running really well. And I think that takes even though you can say, well, we're getting older, what happens there is that takes a length of time for it to really embed in. And with consistency, you get better results in how you perform. And right now, he's performing really, really well. I'm happy with the work that he's done in the gym. I'm happy with his commitment. And as far as everything's concerned with myself, his sparring session has been great. He's in a really good place, and you'll see on Saturday.
What do you expect from Team Parker in this fight? Obviously, more time with Andy Lee.
Yeah.
I personally don't think this fight goes 12 rounds this time. I think they'll be, keener to get this one resolved without going to the judges' scorecards. I think the atmosphere in the arena, all those things that were perhaps lacking in that first fight, is that what you expect? A fast pace in this fight, and maybe not just to hear the final bell?
I don't expect it to go the distance. In answer to your question about Joseph, I think the link up with Andy Lee, I've said numerous times, Andy Lee's a very, very smart man when it comes to boxing. He's worked with two of the best in the business in Manny Stewart and Adam Booth. Sprinkle a bit of Andy Lee's own knowledge himself and the way that he coaches himself, you're going to get results. And as he goes on and develops as a coach, you're going to get fantastic results as he goes on. So I'm expecting a better Joseph Parker. I'm expecting a more aggressive positive Joseph Parker than we had in the first fight. He's got levers. He's got he's got good balance. He's going to use it in an aggressive sort of manner. I don't think he's just going to look to go to the ropes and let Derek bully him. It's going to be a better Parker. But the same vein as I'm expecting and I'm seeing a better Derek Chisora. And Andy'll say that he'll be expecting a better Chisora as well. But the thing when you go into rematches is when you've got intelligent fighters involved, they learn from the first fight. And Derek knows that the shots that Joseph landed in the first fight, I've said to him, he can't afford those shots to land in the second because I expect him to be delivered with better technique. With better technique, they will hit harder, and I'm expecting that. But there's mistakes that Derek made in the first fight offensively that he won't make in this one. And you will see I think you will see a better fight because both fighters will be better. And like you mentioned about the crowd as well, they've underestimated what a difference that makes to fighters like these guys with the crowd. Joseph's a massive name in New Zealand. He's always boxing in front of big crowds, big vociferous crowds, people behind him. Derek loves the crowds singing his name, getting behind him. There's certain fighters where it doesn't affect your cool, calculated boxing skillsters that'll think all the way through. Everything's precise. Crowds don't really affect those sort of fighters. Fighters like Derek, like Joseph, like your Conor Benns, people like that, they get that vibe and it adds an extra few percentages. And when you're talking about performance levels in these kind of fights, those little percentages add up.
Andy, do you share the common theme of this fight not going the distance that time around? I know you take victory by any means, but expect to be a lively encounter on Saturday.
Yeah, I agree with everything what Dave said. And I know how much Chisora will have improved with Dave, because when I won a world title, in my corner, assistant Adam Booth was Dave Caldwell, so I know all about him, and John Hill, by the way. So I know how he will help improve Derek Chisora. And listen, to be honest, after the first fight, when the bell rang, I thought they were going to give the decision to Derek Chisora, and I said it to him in the ring. I was completely honest. I said, I think you probably won this. We got the decision, and when I watched it back, I thought Joe won the fight. And I would also agree with Dave that we won't be negative. Joe's going to be a lot more positive. He will stand a lot more and fight a lot more and be a lot more consistent with his attacks. And yeah, it should make for an excellent fight.
If he's going to do that, and we know what Derek Chisora is going to do, we expect a really great fight between these two on Saturday night in front of a big crowd again, which will make a big difference. It was difficult, wasn't it, behind closed doors? I mean, as a trainer, perhaps to get your fighter in the mode.
And you can hear all the voices, and if anything, the crowd being there will be a benefit to Chisora more than Joseph, because he will feed off that and the energy, and he's a big favourite. And it's like the old saying, you die a hero, you live long enough to become a villain. With Chisora, it's almost the reverse, where he's now the hero, and people love him, and they love his fight style, and he's given us great fights over the years, and great entertainment. But we're here to do business. It's all of this lamenting each other and praising each other. When Joseph gets in that ring, he'll be a different Joseph Parker in terms of the spite he has, mentally and physically. And I'll just finish off by saying cheer to the Makapunas at home, and we'll see you all Saturday night.
Thank you, Andy. Del Boy, kind of get the feeling you're not a lover of these press conferences anymore. Eddie Hearn pay me to talk. Oh no. How much is that? No, you can't talk. That's a shame. So you're going to put it on your phone? Are you not going to talk?
Anyone got a couple of...
All right, I'll go to Joseph. Joseph.
Yo.
Don't have to pay you to talk, do I? No, good, okay. Ready to go on Saturday night? You look in tremendous shape, great camp.
Ready to go.
Expecting a tough Derek Chisora on Saturday.
Yeah. First, it's great to be back in Manchester with the team. Ben, Stephen, Osman and Sonny Bill Williams at the back. Good to have you guys here. We've had a tremendous camp, a great camp. and this fight will be different to the first for sure, 100%.
Andy talks about the crowd. I mean, I know you love fighting in front of crowds as well. You did it in front of 70,000 at the Millennium Stadium. You did it in front of 20,000 at the O2 as well. Weird last time? I mean, fighters get asked this question a lot. Some say, no, it made no difference, but I don't believe that to be true.
It made a big difference. I think the crowd, I know Derek, he does feed off the crowd. I feed off the crowd too. A lot of fighters feed off the crowd, and just having no crowd, having no noise, hearing specific voices, it's pretty weird.
And finally, for you, I know that you're talking about a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship again. That is the aim for you, to become a two-time world champion. Do you need to put in an impressive performance? Scraping a victory on Saturday is not enough. You need to make a statement with this win.
Listen, the world titles are, my eyes are just purely on this weekend, DERECK Chisora, and I'm gonna, probably knock him out between round 6 and 10.
6 and 10. Okay. Sal, he said he's going to knock you out between 6 and 10.
That's a no from me.
We're not going to get any words from DERECK Chisora, but we're going to get a great fight on Saturday night, and we're going to get a great show. Finishing the year in style, live on DAZN around the world. DERECK Chisora against Joseph Parker, the rematch at Manchester Arena. 3 other great championship fights as well, of course. Jack Cullen against Sajo for the European title. IBF eliminator Zelfa Barrett against Bruno Torino. IBO Super Middleweight Championship of the World. Lerone Richards against Carlos Gongora. Sprinky Sam Allen Babbage. The brilliance of the young cruiserweights David Naika, Jordan Thompson, GB star Cyrus Patterson and Sandy Ryan, and Rhiannon Dixon in action as well. Do not miss it this Saturday, live on DAZN. We will see you there.